Hello and thank you for joining us on Journalists Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Today on the program, Governor Zulum sleeps in Damasak after it was overrun by Boko Haram as Zamfara State arrests 11 soldiers for conniving with bandits. Governor Ortom, Senator Ndume disagree over worsening insecurity as Borno Senator insists governors have a role to play. Olambe community in Ogun State begins construction of 7-kilometer road without government assistance. And in sports, State Rubbish Edo 2021 National Sport Festival with the use of foreign mercenaries. And later on the show, Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa signed 6-month deal with his old club, Kano Pillars. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Utitoju and Gani Kaide Balogun, while Musbai Razak will join us later on Sports. Journalists Hangout starts now. Thank you for staying with us. Daring and empathic is how best to describe Governor of Borno State, Professor Babangana Zulum, who slept in Damasak to reassure troops and residents after the town was attacked by Boko Haram fighters on Tuesday. Governor Zulum, who spent the night in Damasak alongside Senator Abubakar Kyari, representing Borno North, and a member of the House of Representatives, Buka Gana Kareto, presented 12 vehicles, including armored personnel carrier, to troops to strengthen the fight against terrorists. I want to know, Julie, when was Damasak attacked?
Damasak has been attacked 5 times in 2 weeks. The last 3 attacks took place on the 5th of April, the 11th of April, and the 14th of April. So effectively, 5 times Damasak has been attacked by Boko Haram fighters in the last 2 weeks. So that should tell you how terrible the situation that we face is. We are encouraging our soldiers to do the best that they can, because 18 persons were killed in this last attack. They destroyed the rest of the humanitarian hubs that were left. You know that the 3 local governments that they had been attacking the last 2 months are the local governments where you have a preponderance of humanitarian workers. That's Marte, Dikwa, and Damasak now, which is the headquarters of mobile local government. So the goal is clear. These are people from Damasak trekking to Niger Republic in the aftermath of the attacks. You know, when an attack takes place once, you can still try to stay, but if it becomes frequent and you can see that there's no form of defense against such attacks, you then think that to save your life, maybe the best thing is to leave.
Flee.
Yes.
Because when you see them operating freely for hours.
Yes. The last time they came around 5 p.m. and up till 10:40 p.m. 10:40 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yes.
10:40 p.m.
They were still operating
almost 6 hours.
They were still operating up to 10 p.m. I'm not saying that they left at 10 p.m., but up till 10 p.m. when the local government chairman,
they had the guts to operate for like 6 hours.
I have the video of them in that town. We were moving without a care in the world. Without a care in the world, they were moving freely. There is a sense in which you could be operating in an area and people will see that you are doing things in a hurry that you want to leave. But where people are moving around feeling confident, they are not in a hurry, then you know that something is wrong. So this is the situation. I know that sometimes when we talk like this, some people assume that we don't like the army. But when we praise the army, these same people simply shut their mouths. I've said it repeatedly that nobody on TV praises the Nigerian army more than me. I don't know that person. I'm yet to see that person. Many Nigerians never knew a certain General Adeosun until I started talking about him. because of his heroic deeds in 2014 when he was the GOC in Maiduguri. He was the one who reclaimed all those local governments that Boko Haram took from us, not only in Maiduguri, extending beyond Maiduguri to even Adama. So, but if we have issues, if our people have been left exposed, we will talk about it. There's just no way anybody can intimidate us to not talk about
killing
it.
our people. We are losing soldiers.
We are losing soldiers.
A lot of
So
soldiers,
this is the thing.
ranks.
If people now feel that it is to Niger Republic that they can go and hide their heads, that is bad enough. We demand improvement. It's as simple as that. And there's no way any political jobber, any political contractor can intimidate people or try to badmouth people into not talking about the truth. It just won't happen. It just won't happen. Because this is our style in this country. When you're talking about the truth, they say, oh, you don't hate them. They say, oh, you can't make the sacrifices that they are making, but you are saying negative things. But this is the truth. This is the truth. The governor of Borno State cannot come out openly now and say Jide lied, that 5 times Damasak was attacked in 2 weeks. I dare the governor to say I lied. Because this is the truth. We all have the report. It's just a matter of, okay, are you prepared to say the truth? That is the challenge that we all face. And people are dying. Humanitarian workers now, they can't work freely. Boko Haram is just targeting that area as a way of drawing attention to themselves and making more money from ISIS. That's the challenge that we face. And we will talk about it.
Mikio, Governor Zulum decided to sleep in Damasak. What is the significance of this gesture?
Well, in a war situation like we find ourselves right now, sometimes political leadership must come forth to show that they are with the people. And what he has done is what we call in the public relations, has basically identified with the flag. What the governor is doing, and one senator and the House of Rep member, is to go there and show that they are not alone.
Yes.
That the government is with them, and they are willing to put their own lives on the line to help these people. Like Jide said, you cannot be attacked consistently without any hope in sight. And then somebody have to give you hope one way or the other. Sometimes it doesn't have to be physical. You don't have to go physical, of course. But sometimes you just have to show the troops that you care. And that to me is the fundamentals brought about by those vehicles that were given. They don't have to do it. Because the army has a budget and they know what to do. But sometimes you have to go higher above the call of duty to show compassion to our people. It's true that Nigeria is hemorrhaging, not only in the northeast, but even in the southwest there. Nigeria is hemorrhaging seriously. People are leaving for other countries. They could no longer trust our soldiers or our law enforcement officers to protect them. People are leaving Yewa in droves.
Yewa in Ogun State?
Yeah. Most of them are now in Benin Republic. And there seems to be nothing anybody is doing about it. And I'm sure the same thing is happening in Niger.
What's responsible for that?
Herdsmen.
Herdsmen. Criminal
herdsmen. Basically.
In Yewa here?
Yewa is less than 100 kilometers from where we are speaking. And that's how close it is. So imagine somebody in Maiduguri going through this stuff. That's what we need to work about. We are worried not because we don't support the troops. We are worried because we don't seem to be getting results.
Yes.
And that's the danger we face.
That's why the people who are not patriots, because anybody irrevocably opposed to the truth is not a patriot. If you are irrevocably opposed to the truth, you are not a patriot. You don't love your country. That's the way I see it. So those who are saying all of that, who say no, no, they were repelled, this, and they are drawing my attention to a video that was shot 5 days after the last attack, as a way of saying that nothing happened. Sometimes I just do these people think at all? That's the question that I ask myself.
Julie, the governor told resident that 18 persons were killed. It was told by the resident that 18 persons were killed in the attack. What can we do to protect our people?
We've got to buy more weapons for the troops. As I've said before, the generals can't come out to say they don't have enough weapons, but I know they don't have enough. This is a fact.
Does it take to procure?
It's not that easy.
But we're talking about procurement of weapons now.
Yes.
For years.
When you are engaged in war, you will lose some weapons. So you have to constantly return. War is not easy. You see countries like Algeria that have superior weapons than us. Even some of the small countries, Ethiopia and the rest of them, you think that they have weapons because consistently they have been fighting war and they have been harming themselves. It takes a long time to be in the position that Egypt finds itself. Some of America's best weapons, the Egyptians have. When you have strategic, alliances with some countries, they will provide you with some of the best that they have. It's just like Israel. If America makes a fantastic fighter jet today,
on a Sunday, Israel will get it on a Monday.
They will give to Israel, like the F-35. Israel is one of the few countries that have it, and that's the best fighter jet in the world.
F-35.
Yes. So the point that I'm making is, this is a long-term thing and it's highly capital intensive. It's a long-term thing. We have tried all kinds of measures to bring in weapons. We have even used the black market. Sometimes we buy second-hand because it's not easy. And when you buy second-hand, sometimes through a third party, it's not easy to wait for 4 years for you to be supplied with the best weapons that you want. I've given the example of India that wanted America to supply Apache helicopters. They had to wait for 5 years.
Like we are waiting.
Yeah, you will wait. They will go and manufacture it. It's not something that you buy on the shelf.
Or you do like Brazil and produce.
And if you are hard pressed, the way Goodluck Jonathan was hard pressed, you then try to buy it from the black market, get an aircraft, go to South Africa, and when people want to play politics, they will say that you are trying to do money laundering, not knowing that they are hurting their own country, because that the effort they were making at that time was to procure weapons through the black market. And they told us that so persons were in the aircraft. At the end of the day, they were Israeli crewmen, because the Israelis are good in getting this kind of deals done. So you have to then, when we didn't succeed with that one, eventually we succeeded in getting T-72 Russian tanks through Ukraine, second hand from Ukraine. We bought even Alpha jet second hand again. We bought second hand because the Alpha jet has been decommissioned. So where are you going to buy it?
Spare parts.
The spare parts we had to work with even the engineering department of ABU to fabricate some spares by ourselves. That's the ingenuity of the former chief of air staff. So we have problems. For me, if you provide game-changing weapons, that's how I describe them. If you provide it for our troops, they will be confident. Like an APC, for example, if you have an APC and people are advancing towards you with small arms, you will be confident to go and face them. Although if it takes a hit from an RPG, you probably will be gone, or an IED. So, but there are weapons that we can buy that will give our troops strength in the kind of warfare that they are engaged in, and we have to buy enough for them. For me, one of the reasons we become a stationary army, an army that is reluctant to advance towards the enemy's stronghold, is because of this lack of sufficient weapons.
You don't take the battle. You can't take the battle to them.
You need plenty. When you want to go and you saw the video of the Chadians that we played now. You saw how many weapons they rolled into that place. You think they are going to fight a nation, but they were going to fight the Boko Haram guys, and they were not going to joke with them, and they gave them a bloody nose. See how many vehicles were involved in that invasion. So this is the point that we are making. Let them have enough. When they have enough, and what they have are game-changing in nature, they will be confident to take the battle to the enemy. The way we are now, we are constantly waiting for the enemy to come, and when the enemy comes, we will say we have repelled. That word repelled. We have so abused that word. We've given it a totally different name, and it's a shameful thing to keep repelling.
How can they
you have
always
to
be
go after the enemy
in our own territory?
Yes. What is repelling? What are you repelling? Go and deal with them where they are coming from, so that they will not even be in a position to come and attack you to the point that you are now repelling. Repelling is not something to be happy about. Crush the enemy. That's what we demand.
GKB, the United Nations has they've confirmed that its facilities were destroyed. What's the implication of this attack on humanitarian work?
Actually, it's on two levels. I thought Gide would move to the political aspect of procurement, which of course is a major factor in why we are a priority issue right now. And when he was talking about strategic alliances, we don't keep to ask the question, how come despite the level of cooperation that the former American president was willing to extend to us in terms of procurement, how come we have not really gotten those things that we asked for? It's a major concern. And then we still have countries who still see us as a terrorist even. We have human rights records, whether it's true or not, whether it's the perception. So people are very reluctant to sell us weapons frontally. And that to me is the danger and the failure of our foreign diplomacy in this period. Of course, we all know that until recently we don't call the Boko Haram problem a war. We call it an uprising, we call it bandits, we give names, but to call it the real thing, which is a war. Now we are doing that, is when we need to move. Something must give, because we cannot keep going to the black market to fight a war of this magnitude. The area this war is covering, if you know, is the equivalent of some countries in East Africa. They are talking about if this is happening in countries like Botswana, they will have overrun the government by now. So we need to really find a way to tune up whatever diplomacy we need to use to get weapons on time. It's one thing to have access, another thing for people to put you on a list that they cannot sell weapons to you, even second hand, because you have certain records that you cannot defend. Something must give. And then number two, of course, the fact that you cannot keep attacking United Nations facilities and expect them to keep coming. I think what the Boko Haram is trying to achieve is to destroy,
chase them away from,
so that when they are not there, they have less reluctance for them to move in. And people moving to the Niger Republic, like I said, the way we are going, people will soon be moving to anywhere else they can see.
It will be a big humanitarian crisis. Now, Jiri, some videos showed residents living in Damasak. Do you think many of them would like to come back in view of the escalating violence in that area?
If peace is assured, a lot of them will come back, and the governor's decision to go there, along with Senator Kyari, will definitely help in restoring the confidence of the people. I read somewhere one of these reports that Senator Kyari is from Damasak. He's not from Damasak, he's from Gashigar. That's where he's from, and he has not been to his hometown since 2014. So people want peace. People want peace. Once peace is restored, and the people can feel that they are safe in Damasak, a lot of those who left will feel like coming back, because there's no place like home. And that's where they have their farms, that's where they have their livestock, that's where they make a living. So they'll feel like coming back.
Meanwhile, the Zamfara state government has announced the arrest of 11 soldiers who were accused of conniving with bandits. Let's share the story with you.
Zamfara state has suffered from activities of armed bandits and other related crimes for almost a decade, but it is gradually getting out of it. For almost a month now, the state has not recorded any incident of mass abduction of persons or attack on any community. This, the state government says, is as a result of the peace and reconciliation process initiated by the state governor Bello Matawali and the effort of security operatives working to keep peace in all affected communities. And yet, there is more good news. The State Commissioner for Information at a press conference in Gusau announces the arrest of 7 security personnel for aiding bandits.
The suspects, who have already been interrogated and confessed to their respective crimes, have since the commencement of the military operations in the state in recent past been sabotaging the operations by the military by sharing military intelligence, supplying arms and ammunition, military uniforms and other facilities to the armed bandit to prevent our gallant soldiers from conquering the bandits. This is why it took the Nigerian military and other security agencies fighting the bandits that long to defeat them.
Other suspects were also arrested in connection with banditry. Live ammunition, cash, charms and other items were recovered.
A team of policemen attached to Serious Crime Unit, SCU, while acting on intelligence information, intercepted 2 suspects from Zurmi and Shinkafi local government areas, respectively, allegedly supplying bandits with ammunition and military camouflage from Lagos. A medical doctor was arrested by the Operation Pop Ada policemen, allegedly supplying military kits to suspected armed bandits.
The Zamfara state government is appealing to President Muhammadu Buhari to redeem his pledge to deploy 6,000 troops to the state to clear the remaining bandits terrorizing various communities in the state and the northwest zone. Safilus Darufai, TVC News, Gusau.
Actually, this is not good enough.
No, it's shameful.
What do you make of this?
It's shameful. It's shameful. I can tell you one of the reasons we have had to battle this hard to defeat these fellows is because of sabotage from within.
Fifth columnist.
I know that the Nigerian army has arrested a lot of saboteurs in the northeast in the past. You know, they have to speed up the process of weeding all these undesirable elements out of the army. An army that we want to be proud of. It's not an army where people would be conniving, sabotaging and endangering the lives of their own colleagues. I mean, just because of money. The other day, they are soldiers themselves. They are soldiers. It's easy now.
They are insiders. They
are soldiers. So they will link up with these bandits and then provide the information that the bandits. It's so easy to do sabotage. You know, when a particular team will go on patrol, you tell them that, look, these fellows are going on patrol at so time, and they can ambush them. This is what they are doing. The kind of efficiency that we see in terms of the intelligence at the disposal of the enemy suggests that some people are working for them from within. So this has to happen. We need to continue to identify bad eggs, and it's not a new thing anyway.
It's not.
The Wadume matter.
The captain.
We can remember the issue of the captain. Although today they are trying to sweep it under the carpet, but you can sweep it under the carpet for some time. But you don't know what will happen tomorrow.
The carpet will tear.
Because the current people behind this sweeping of the thing under the carpet, they won't be there forever. The police took Wadume to court. The Attorney General then told the police to hand over the matter. He's exercising his power as an Attorney General. The Constitution permits him to stop any criminal matter.
For any matter.
So he did that. What can the police do? They already killed their operatives, and the Wadume confessed. No one has told us that Wadume confessed under duress. Wadume confessed. The people who work with Wadume among the police detained their own people. Army refused to detain their own. Army refused to put their own on trial. The former CDS set up a so-called probe panel that from the beginning was not meant to achieve any result. That's what we saw with the former CDS. Set up the panel, and wasted our time at the end of the day to release the captain. They refused. They thought, okay, maybe that will put the army into too much shame. What has happened in Zamfara? Has it not put the army to shame? Unless you are able to stop all of these bad things happening, they will continue to smear the good name of the army. Every time people are asking, what is what is wrong with the Wadume matter? Why are they not bringing Wadume to court? Yes, the people posture as patriots on social media who want the rest of us to think that they are truly patriots. You don't see them talk about it. They select the things that they want to talk about.
Anything that doesn't glorify
they are the definition of hypocrisy. Somebody within a group destroying the group and making sure that that group does not rise to the level of effectiveness and efficiency that we want is there. You do not see anything wrong in it.
Can we really win this war if security agencies are conniving with bandits?
No, that's the simple answer. But you must also remember that we must find a way to weed out the bad eggs. Just like it's happening to bandits, don't forget the same thing is happening to kidnappers. When people bring out those who kidnap people, and you look at their composure, at the way they look, and you just oppose it with the amount of money they've collected, realize that these are just foot soldiers. And some of the people who are kidnapped will tell you that those who kidnap them have prior, I don't know what to call it, something, prior security background. That means they are very fit, they are very comfortable with the gun, and they can walk long distances. All this is applicable only to a particular section of the Nigerian populace who can do that freely. So it's not only in banditry, also when it comes to other aspects of this war. So what we need to do, I keep saying, is the fact that you must shame the people that are destroying your name. This day of always putting people down does not work. What we need to do right now is to ensure that things like this come out often, not once in a while.
Yes.
When you bring them out, shame them, show their pictures.
We need to see their pictures.
So that you know exactly the people who are doing it. And that's the only way to win this war.
Name and shame them.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. The debate over the best approach to tackle rising insecurity in Nigeria is pitching the governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, against chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Senator Ali Ndume. While Governor Ortom said security of lives and property in the country is no longer guaranteed under this federal government, Senator Ndume insists that the state governors have roles to play in securing their domains. The duo agreed that the country needs competent leadership to tackle insecurity. Gentlemen, there was this back and forth. Now, Governor Ortom says security is a lot worse in Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari. Is there really any debate in this, about this?
It's a game of statistics. And sometimes statistics can be treacherous. Statistics can mislead. In terms of the number of communities, number of local governments where Boko Haram used to operate, we can safely say that yes, they are not operating in those places anymore. In fact, I doubt if they still retain themselves in some states in this country where they used to kill many people. Remember the attack in Kano some years back when they attacked the police headquarters. They killed more than 200 people that day. Such attacks outside of the epicenter of the war, which is the northeast, such attacks by Boko Haram are extremely rare. We have not heard of such attacks in years. Attacks in even Abuja
that seems to be
yes, thing. They are no longer there. But it is not the result of some gargantuan security measures put in place. In fact, I would say that we have relaxed. Because I went to Kano, the kind of security put in place in Sabongeri, to protect those churches at the height of the Boko Haram killings, they are no longer there, which is dangerous in a way because on the day that they choose to strike, people will be caught unawares. The way we used to search vehicles, if you are coming into Abuja from the airport, the way we position soldiers on the road who will search vehicles to see whether they are carrying IEDs or any material that is dangerous. It's no longer happening. You drive through, nobody searches you. They are not. So that's what I'm saying. It's not as if we put any serious security measures in place. The enemy decided that the best way to save itself from certain death is to not spread out like thing the way it used to do, is to concentrate its energy in the northeast, Borno state especially. They still carry attacks. Yes, they still carry attacks, carry out attacks in Yobe, in the Babangida Gedam area. They still carry out attacks in Adama, you know, this Mechika, Madagali, all those areas. It's not as if the threats are no longer there. Now, when you talk about all of that, in terms of Boko Haram, yes, we made some gains. And it is not even exactly true that all of those gains were made under this administration, because all the big towns like Goza and the rest of them were captured before the election in 2015, you know, before this government came into power. Now, when we move to the banditry, we are seeing banditry at a level never seen before in the history of our country.
Unprecedented.
You know, it takes a jaundiced eye observer to not admit that insecurity has suddenly become our biggest problem. When President Buhari took over power, we thought that corruption was the biggest problem that we had, that he had to fix corruption. He even said that if we did not fix corruption, it will kill Nigeria. If we did not kill corruption, it will kill Nigeria. And then, of course, the economy, let him fix the economy. But security has emerged as the biggest problem that we face in our country. So big that even some of the gains that this administration has made, people are reluctant to talk about it. They are just focusing on security. And it will remain like that until the issue of security is addressed. All of the trains, all of the good things that you are doing, improvement even in power supply in some cases, renewable energy that you are doing at a level that nobody had ever done in our country, nobody will talk about it unless you defeat insecurity. This is a fact. This is a fact. Because insecurity has become a lot worse under this administration. No doubt about it.
Senator Ndume does not believe that all the blame should go to the federal government. He is saying that state governors have a role to play. What role can the governor play in this kind of arrangement, knowing that security is like an exclusive business?
It's only exclusive
of the federal government.
Well, that's why the thing was funny, and it would have been even funnier if it's not so bad. Two reasons. One, that Governor Ortom is right, is the fact that let's look at those states who are proactive in creating quasi-security forces, basically to tackle local problems within the area. The Nigerian police told them they can only use a certain weapon. You and I know if the police could not stop people carrying AK-47, you expect these people to also enforce people to carry what the Yorubas will call shakabula. That itself is a description of the distortion in the federation that Governor Tom is talking about. Because even if the governors want to do stuff, they were handicapped basically by the Constitution and the operators of the Constitution at the federal level. We all know that laws are made for men, not meant for law. So if you have this level of gigantual insecurity in our nation, that obviously is overwhelming the federal forces. And governors are trying, some governors are trying to find a way around it in such a manner to fight security forces on their own. And the federal government still insists on holding the carrot and the stick, on holding the spoon and the soup. Then this will not go away. We have to apply common sense. Now we apply elements that we do as a people. Right now, I don't think the senator is correct. We have far more problems of insecurity under the administration than we've had in the last 60 years. And the reason is obvious, because you have to tie it again to the economics of banditry as going on. Because there are no consequence, basically. A lot of people are moved into it as a, what we call low risk, high reward mentality. Basically, that's why armed robberies have gone down. Because people have simply moved from the problem of doing armed robbery at night to simply kidnap people for good amount of money. So until and unless the federal government is willing to share this responsibility of security our people with the governors, I'm afraid we are going to keep going around in circles.
Do you know what really is the problem? Is it that the police and army are overwhelmed here?
Everybody is overwhelmed. Even us journalists were overwhelmed. Talking about what the problems are not getting the results. The army is overwhelmed.
Police.
The army is overstretched. The police is overstretched. We are not recruiting enough into the police. That was why the governor of Borno State suggested that we should recruit this civilian JTF kind of, vigilantes. We should recruit them and recruit more soldiers because given the scale of the problem that we face, it is extremely difficult for us to defeat the enemy with the current troop strength. I said before that to defeat an insurgency, you must outnumber the opponent considerably. And considerably now must be in the region of ratio 7-to-1 or 8-to-1. That way, when you even capture a territory, you'll be able to keep troops on ground to retain that place
and advance.
So, but a situation in which you capture a place and you don't have enough troops. Boko Haram has been exploiting the fact that we don't have enough people. They do read, they do watch they do listen to part of what Kanu said the other day. Kanu addressed his people for about 1 hour 45 minutes, and he was saying that, look, Nigeria has not got enough security forces to deal with the problems that we have. He's right. Other people too have said that for years we neglected recruiting consistently into the army, and we don't have a reservist system. When Israel is faced with a big problem, for example, they call upon their reservists. It happened now in 1973. It happened. All of their wars, Yom Kippur, the Six-Day War, they called upon reservists. So the reservists will now help to boost troop strength. We don't have such a system. In some countries, the sort of the system whereby we have the NYC, they actually use that to give people some military training, so that when war comes, they can actually be used to fight. You
know why that was stopped? You know that was part of the original reason for NYC. To give people training in combat, but the soldiers themselves don't want people who are already intelligent to have access to arms. So they stepped it down. Now we are suffering the consequence.
Yeah, because we simply don't have enough, and we must. Unfortunately, the police, they are even fighting themselves over recruitment.
Seriously,
we are deficient in manpower. We have manpower deficiency. That is a fact, and that is what has stretched everybody thin, and that is why you could say that even the army and the police, they are overwhelmed. We need
because we did not take this war as war from the beginning. Because if we had done this 10 years ago, we did not
even take security seriously from the beginning. Because even before the war came, we should have known that every year we must consistently recruit people into the police, into the army. We didn't do it. It was this man that came, the former chief of army staff, the Igbo man.
Okay.
He was the one who even tried to recruit about 11,000 soldiers the other day.
And it was resisted.
For years, we did not try to recruit.
Or we recruit underneath.
All right.
So that reflects.
We'll take this break. We'll be right back after the timeout. It's Journalists Hangout on Sunday. We have 120 minutes for you. That's from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Babajide, lately, the Ibadan-Ijebu-Ode road. Lately, we've been hearing about kidnapping, activities of bandits in that axis.
It's terrible. It's terrible, and I think the Motekun has to be more up and doing. I know that it's an extensive area to police, but Amotekun and the OPC, they've got to work together. They've got to do something about this problem. The governor of Ogun State set up the Amotekun Corps with fanfare the other day. We have to see them begin to work. We have to see them begin to work in that area. In fact, there was some women were kidnapped a few days back, and unfortunately, the police The police that did not play any role in securing the release of those women. The husband of one of those women actually paid 6 million to rescue his wife, only for the police to claim that they were the ones who rescued the woman, and in the story they put the picture of the police commissioner. It shows that we are not ready to solve the problem. If all you do is simply lie through your teeth about things that you didn't do.
People pay ransom.
Yes.
It's not even advisable to go to the police again.
No, they will even tell you.
If you
okay, Shebi, it happened. I had a cousin that was kidnapped. I approached the security agencies. I pleaded with people in my state. At a point, they stopped picking my calls. Last, ransom was paid before they let the woman go. This is how people, if as popular as I am, you know, people will assure me that, look, we are doing something, and you are seeing this go into weeks and nothing is happening. You will give yourself brain and quickly go and pay the ransom before that person dies in their hands. This is what we are facing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Ibadan-Jebode road, if you know the road, is still at the Awolowo level. That means some areas is very narrow. And so the areas that are wide, because it's, you know, that's in front of Agowi. So a lot of students like that road.
And sometimes it could be quiet.
On a good day, it will take you 15 minutes to Ibadan, but it's a very isolated area with forest on both sides. And it's not the first time the police will be doing this in Ogun State. Even remember a case last year, is when some people were also kidnapped. OPC had to swing into action and got these people out. Only for the OPC to hear the very next morning that the job was done by the police. And those guys were very angry. You have to calm them down. That what you are doing is for your nation. It's not for glory.
Dishonest police.
And all that. And again, the governor himself is, I don't know what to say about the governor, because the Osun Amotekun started about 2 years ago. The Oyo Amotekun, even when the Amotekun was launched, I was right there. And that's about 2 years ago.
Not led by Mitolishiko.
So Lagos and Ogun are the only remaining states that have not shown commitments to setting up bright structures to work for the security of those areas. And Lagos is exposed to the water. And we assume that they will know that their own problem will come from the water, not from land. And by now we expect for them to have, call it whatever you want, marine corps, whatever, people that can move quickly, because the corridor axis is also growing in that fashion. For kidnapping and all that. And here we sit down and we cut, we smile at the camera, while the job of governance basically is to be proactive, like you said. If you have done something 10 years ago, so people will listen. As a Journalists Hangout said it, because that area is becoming notorious. The boys from the creeks are coming back inside Lagos creeks, and nothing is being done to solve that problem. Ogun's problem, you know, we said it earlier. A substantial number of people from Yewa have migrated across the border, and the figure is growing every day.
And they shouldn't get worse.
And those are the only two states, as of today, who have shown serious lack of interest in forming something they've passed into law more than 2 years ago.
A journalist and publisher based in Kaduna, Tuko Mamo, is joining us via Zoom for more insights on this. Thank you for joining us, Tuko.
Tukur. Malam Tukur.
Thank you for joining us. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, my brother.
Yes, go ahead. What do you make of the security situation in the country right now?
Okay, it is good to have you at this important platform of Journalists Hangout. As we all know, we are in a very big crisis in this country, and it calls for serious concern for all of us as stakeholders. And from what we have seen, especially as a major stakeholder, you know, it is something that will require collective effort, not only from the government, but the citizens will be involved as well to ensure that, you know, we have lasting peace and security in the whole country. But as I used to say always, you know, we really have a predicament. And the predicament we have is that the government needs to be proactive in taking serious measures that will end this kind of crisis. As far as I'm concerned, as far as the experience we gathered over the last few months, especially during our visit to so many bandit camps with Sheikh Ahmed Kobi. The situation is really frightening, and I can say the country is really living on the time bomb. Unless and until the right steps are taken by the government, and unless and until we understand the reality and approach the issue in a more holistic way, it will be difficult for us, to really have a solution to this current crisis. But from all indications and from what we have been seeing so far, I really don't think we are taking the right approach to see this to an end. I can tell you quite confidently that if government will continue in this manner, I think it will be difficult for government, to contain this kind of crisis, because it is either the government are really underestimating, the kind of crisis we have, especially related to banditry and kidnappings, or the government, for some reasons, are being lackluster in applying the right measures to ensure that this thing, comes to an end.
Now, you talked about measures that the government should take. Can you throw some light on these measures? Because are you going to suggest?
Part of the measures is that instead of always trying to see that we apply military solution, a military solution that will eventually not work in eliminating these bandits, we need to go back to the drawing board. There is a genesis to this kind of crisis. There is the genesis to this kind of crisis. We need to address the genesis to this kind of crisis. And that is why on our own part, we are emphasizing on dialogue, even though many Nigerians, will not appreciate the language of dialogue, or, the issue of amnesty to bandits, to ensure that, we have a security in our country. If, for example, we have a system that is free from corruption, a system that is more dedicated, a system, that encourages, high morale within the military men, with so much dedication, with proper intelligence, every one of us will encourage the government to eliminate these bandits once and for all. But if we continue to deceive ourselves that, the use of military will ensure an end to this kind of crisis, especially from our own first-hand experiences in those forests, I can tell you we are just wasting our time, and the government will spend the next 2 years of this mandate without addressing this kind of crisis.
Tukur, the point is, the reason many people do not agree with the idea of amnesty or even negotiating with these bandits is because some governors had negotiated with them. You are a high chief from Katsina, for example. You know that your governor had an amnesty arrangement with these people, but they went back to criminality, which is very frustrating.
What I can tell you is that even the issue of amnesty, there is so much corruption in the issue of amnesty. If you look at the experiences in some of the states, I don't want to mention states, you will see an instance whereby so millions has been dedicated for so reason, and then at the end of the day, what will go to the bandits will be very, very negligible. So we are not even encouraging, a situation whereby you will be giving out money to bandits. These bandits, they have their origin. Most of them are Fulani headsmen. Most of them are victims of cattle rustling. Most of them are victims of extortions. Most of them are victims of all kinds of injustice and harassment by the government. They have lost so many things. They have lost their valuables. They have lost their cows. And these are people, since the creation of this country, budgets upon budgets have never addressed their concerns. Budgets upon budgets, have left them in abject poverty and squalor. So virtually, when you have a society, when you have a community with so much illiteracy, both Islamic and Western, when you have a society, that was dispossessed by virtually everything it has, with so much ignorance, without hospitals, without potable water, without schools. You know, what do you expect to have from those kind of communities? Until and unless government address these important issues and then dialogue sincerely with them, I can tell you from our engagement with them, most of them are even tired of living in that kind of life. Most of them. So if they will have a very sincere system, a very sincere government that will really engage them in a very sincere way, I can tell you 80% of this kind of crisis, I can tell you, will be contained. And we have an example in Zamfara. We have an example in Zamfara where the governor has emphasized the issue of dialogue, even though there is some little problems here and there, but it has succeeded, you know, more than 70-80% in reducing, you know, the number of attacks, the number of kidnappings in the state. Before now in Zamfara state, people cannot even go to farm. Before now in Zamfara state, in 1 week, 2 days, 3 days, you know, villages will be attacked. People as much as 50, 100, in some instances 200 people will be killed at once. But now you record 1 month, 2 months, and even 3 months without any serious attack. People can now go to farm. It is not the might of the military that achieved this. I can tell you, it is not the might of the military. It is the power of dialogue that succeeded, you know, in bringing relief to these poor people. So what we are emphasizing is that, you know, we are not justifying criminality in any way. Nobody will justify criminality, but we have a system, you know, that has been consumed by corruption. We have a system, you know that even depends on this war against insurgency as a means of, you know, extorting the government and extorting the people. So, and that is why most of them are not even happy with our initiatives, because once there is peace, once there is complete peace, these billions that are being dedicated for security purposes will now cease. So there is a lot of politics in this war. There is a lot of politics that the government should understand. And we are emphasizing, we are encouraging government, you know, to really look at these options so that we'll have a permanent solution to this kind of crisis. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that if government insists on the use of force only, I can tell you it will not only spend the next 2 years, but the next 20 years without addressing this kind of crisis. We have seen an example, even with the most advanced, you know, military in the world. The America has been in Taliban for over 18 years. Now they have officially announced that they will disengage completely in September, and they will disengage without achieving their mission. Fighting this kind of crisis, you know, is not easy. It is not a kind of crisis that government like the one we have, government, you know, that cannot address serious issues of corruption in military spending that can achieve. So the earlier we realize the painful reality, we address it, the better. A situation whereby, you know, a governor or any other political leader will say, I will not dialogue with bandits and all these things, you know, I think this is not good for the system, because you don't have the power to engage them. You don't have the powers to stop them from what they are doing. Yes. Whenever they want to go on rampage, they will go on rampage irrespective of whether you are a Muslim or you are a Christian. They will target everybody. They will kill everybody if they want. I think when you realize you have limited powers, you have to really look at the other option.
Okay, your point is taken.
Kind of business, let me tell you.
Your point is taken. Let's talk about these bandits. You've seen them. You saw them physically. You went to their camps with the sheikh. Now.
Yeah.
They are so many, they have different leaders, they are so dispersed. Some of them are in Niger State, they are in different places. What kind of arrangement can ensure that everybody is brought together and we achieve peace? Because the people who destroyed the amnesty initiative in Katsina were people who even came from other states. When the program did not cover all of them. So how do we ensure that everybody is in the same boat. This is one of the fears that people have. And then, secondly,
I'm sorry to say, the peace initiative in Katsina is not well scripted. You know, this is something that was poorly arranged, and I can tell you quite confidently that there is no sincerity in what we saw in Katsina. As an insider, as a stakeholder, I can tell you there is no sincerity in it. Because this is not a platform for us to be exposing so many things. We are only interested in looking at the solution and the best possible way in containing this kind of crisis. And then coming back to your question, you know, reaching out to these bandits, even though, as you said, they have different arms, they have all these things, will not be something very difficult. Most of them are interrelated. Most of them are coordinated. Most of them contact each other. For example, now, the recent abduction of 39 students in Mando in Kaduna, you know, before they know the group that kidnapped those innocent students, you know, it was another group in Mina that we contacted that identified the group that took these students, and eventually it opened doors for some of the parents to even reach out to the bandits, because the policy of the government in Kaduna is that they will not engage in any dialogue with the bandits. So, but sadly, you know, if you want to do this kind of process, you know, in our country, we have respected religious leaders, both Muslim and Christians, that I can tell you these people will be very confident with, will be very comfortable with, and then they will open up as long as there is that sincerity, you know, to give room for peace and dialogue. For example, now, among so many things that we have discussed with them, they have voiced out their concerns. They have expressed their grievances. They have expressed what they want. They did not tell us to give them money. They have expressed, you know, the issue of government, you know, neglecting them in almost everything, you know, of national importance. That they don't have schools. So they don't have hospitals.
Finally, Governor Nasir El-Rufai is determined, as said, he will not negotiate with these bandits.
Even if it's his son
that he know how he will not negotiate with them. What do you make of this?
So, as far as I'm concerned, as a leader, I think it is a very unwise decision as a leader, because even if he said he will not negotiate with them, behind the scene now, I can tell you the families are negotiating with the bandits, and they don't have any option, because the government cannot secure the release of these people just like that.
The governor vowed to prosecute anybody. The governor vowed to prosecute anybody trying to negotiate with these bandits.
So but they are willing. Most of them will be willing to take any kind of prosecution, because in a situation whereby, you know, the government cannot do the right thing at the right time, and you have a situation whereby, you know, your children, you know, their lives is at risk, you know, because of a policy of the government, you know, certainly most of them will decide to take one decision or the other to ensure that, you know, that their words are released. And I think as a government, what we're supposed to encourage is that it is good for a governor like El-Rufai to understand that you know, we are not encouraging in any way a situation whereby, you know, you will encourage bandits and terrorists, you know, to go on rampage, to do whatever they want. But we have a very serious problem at the moment.
I want to thank you.
The problem is that we don't have the capacity, you know, to contain this kind of crisis. We don't have the capacity, you know, to stop them from attacking. So it is important for a leader to make sure that
we have to leave it there.
Whatever you say, whatever you say, at least has been harmonized, so that people.
Thank you.
So that
journalist, publisher based in Kaduna, Alhaji Tuku Momo. Thank you for your contribution.
For your time.
Thank you very much, my brother.
All right, moving on now. Good road infrastructure remains an indispensable asset for rural communities. In Olambe community, located in Ifo local government area of Ogun State, residents came together to flag off the construction of a 7-kilometer road long neglected by governments. In this report, Journalists Hangout Weekend Special, Abiola Shulanke visited the community and now reports.
This is the Jolasco area of Ijoko Road in Ifo, local government area of Ogun State. This is the main road that leads to Olambe, Okiaro, and Nadion, where the Lagos State has a big water treatment plant. Bad roads are a fixture of most parts of Ifo Council area. The area had been neglected by successive administrations, thereby causing so much distress for inhabitants of these boundary communities between Lagos and Ogun states. This is Olambe Road. A drive through the 7-kilometer road shows serious work in progress. The road project is part of the community scheme aimed at fixing infrastructure deficits in the area. While the project was scheduled for delivery in 2020, the COVID-19 lockdown caused some delay and inability to raise substantial funds for its execution. The residents began to fix the road in bits since it was the only access to Akute, Olambe, Matogun, and surrounding communities. This is the toll gate. This landmark plays a vital role in the development of this community. I asked the leaders of the community how they raise funds to execute the project up to this stage.
We levy everybody in the community 1,000 naira. Those people that have more than 1,000, even the road committee chairman, he first of all donated 100,000 to this project. People are donating.
Ganiyu Omolade is the chairman of the Community Development Committee. He disclosed to us how much the project has got so far.
When we now came back, we sat down and said, okay, let's put toll. Before we get to toll, we had some meetings with the valley and councils. We met them. We do the meeting with them. They agree with the toll. So when we start the toll, we start the toll in January 2nd, 2021. Within the 2 months, we are able to raise about 2.5 million. So we started working. Some people, somebody had borrowed us 1.5 million. We added to it. Another person that is a philanthropist, he gave us about 700,000 to excavate. So that is how we got to this stage.
It has not been a smooth ride for these determined community leaders. They have had to confront all kinds of challenges.
We don't receive the cooperation of the Okada people, despite the fact that this road is very, very useful to them. If it were to be before it get to this level, a lot of women will be able to stay here conveniently, but they don't realize what the community are doing to alleviate their problem in terms of maintenance of their bike.
A few kilometers ahead, drains are being constructed to ensure free flow of surface and subsurface water from the area whenever it rains. This, according to the residents, has been a major challenge. Abosede Idowu is full of regrets about the damage caused by this bad road.
Number one, charity tiwa tá bá fẹ́ wọlé síbí wàhálà ni. Tá bá fẹ́ jáde ìrònú ni. Láti bí jáde síta kò lóye owó tá ná. Àwọn ọjà wa kò lóye ọjà wa tó ń ṣòfò. Tá bá ní a fẹ́ dàbá àti tá bá gbé márúwá tàbí ká gbé mọ́tò. Tó bá jórí ọ̀kadà ni a máa dànù. Kò sí bá ṣe fẹ́ gbé. Àìmọye àwọn ògo wa tán fọ́ sí títì kò lóye ọjà wa ó ń ṣòfò tó bá dẹ̀ jẹ́ dust ni ẹ wo rí bàtà tí mò ń tà yẹn bí dust ibẹ̀ ṣe pọ̀ tó ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí Ọlọ́run ẹ bá wa dá sí.
Other businessmen share similar tales.
dust are so much. When we print job, like we do print, what is it called, vest, we try to exhibit our job, the dust is just too much. Dust is just too much. Even at the raining period, at times we need to fetch water here in order to help people when they fell down.
The dust affects us a lot because if our customer come and they see a lot of dust and the share is too dirty, they will patronize us. And we have wife, we have children at home. We have to feed them. So please help us.
Residents of this community commended the initiative of the leaders and described it as a critical step towards development of the area.
When this road project was introduced, a lot of people had doubts in terms of integrity, in terms of sincerity, in terms of commitment, and in terms of transparency. I can tell you that, in fact, at least about 99% members of Olambe community, they can now attest that the integrity level of those people behind the project.
I've been in this area for about 25 years, but we have not had a government impact in terms of infrastructures. And you can see that the community came up, levying themselves, paying to gate so that we can get the road rehabilitated.
Some of the residents say they are already enjoying the impact of the work done by the Community Development Committee, but want it accelerated. At this stage, they called for quick takeover of the project by the government.
Community is doing it as part of maybe social responsibility here. We need the government intervention to come and do it.
When we order for Uber here in Olambe, Ogun State, they will ask us to come to Lagos to come and for pickup because the road is bad. They will ask us to come to somewhere like Ojodu Bega, where the road is motorable. This road, we pay the federal government, maybe not federal government or Ogun State government, but that for Abiodun may come and help us to do it because if the election come now, they go come here. After election, they go sit down for Abeokuta there or Abuja. They don't come this area again. We beg them because if the election come, we no go vote for them.
For now, work has stalled on the project due to paucity of funds. A continuation of the upgrade of infrastructure in the area is all the residents seek to make life more meaningful and spur economic growth in their community. Abiola Sholanke, TVC News, Lagos.
Babajide, officially, I'll dig my own borehole, I'll buy my own fuel in the generator. I'm just a government on my own. And if I had to secure myself in terms of security and the road I'm going to drive past. So this is the situation of the people in Olambe community. They just decided that we are not going to wait for government again.
No, the truth is, people are taking the destiny in their hands. On the way to this community is the former school of my children, the primary school. It used to be extremely bad. It used to be extremely bad. Do you know that the people now they came together, dug drains for themselves, compacted the road. If you drive through that road now, it's called Olori area in Akutu. If you drive through that place, you won't believe it. But I've been there for years. 20 years
They
like
know,
that.
They know that
so they just told themselves that,
look,
look, it's like we've been forgotten.
Yes, come to their rescue.
Now they've gone to do it by themselves. And it's the same thing. I like this Olambe people because I went there because I was involved in the some of the spade work for this story. They said, look, we are not interested in abusing government. But we want government to know that we have started this work.
Something.
So if you want to assist us to take it
you
to
can
the
take
next
it,
level.
Yes, you can take it up from here.
Yes, we'll be happy. Because they are good.
They've leveled this.
They've compacted it in their own way. They brought granite, they brought cement. So they mixed granite with cement and then compacted it. So it's very motorable now.
tasking anybody that want to do business in that axis. You can see Okadas. So they have to collect money from them. If you know you want to ride the Okada, yes, look at this.
They were saying that the Okada guys are not cooperating
because the Okada will say the money that the union will get them.
Because union too will still collect
money from them. Yes.
Or what are they called, you know? And so the thing is, government needs to help people. Business activities will pick up when you have good access roads and all that. These are very patriotic Nigerians. Yes, they just took it upon themselves.
Yes.
And you know the honesty and all that is what really has impressed me. Yes. We see people living some communities, fine estate, they have money, but communal effort. They are not interested in any form of communal effort. But these people have set the right example. This is the way to go.
And they'll be riding the best
Don't wait for government to come and do everything for you. You can start from somewhere. Because the truth is, government is overwhelmed. And Prince Dakwa Abiodun, for example, I'm not trying to be a spokesman. I will never be spokesman to any politician. But the truth is, he has huge debts that he inherited. So it will take mighty effort for all of those roads needing attention in those projects to be addressed.
The projects he inherited from the past administration.
He's trying to finish those projects before starting his own. What he has done is to say, okay, every local government, I'm bringing projects. Every ward, I want to bring projects. But the truth is, he must realize, Governor Abiodun must realize that there is a lot of work to do. And people are suffering, especially in this C4 area. And there's population there. They always say, it is when they want to do election that they remember us. So he has to assist them now. He has to assist them where they have reached now. The governor needs to take it over. It's just 7 kilometers.
GKB, this is the first time I will be saying something like this. So. Yes, I know that with some CDC, they might try to patch potholes and everything, but this one, that we want to level it, we want to tax the residents, and we want to do this gradually.
Well, I want to commend them, because not everybody that lives in the states has the money to do stuff. But notwithstanding, I think what we need to realize is this. This is abdication of responsibility. No matter what we try to do for government, if for local government is the Newark of Nigeria.
It's too big. It's too big.
Understand? It's the New Jersey of Nigeria. This is supposed to be the cash cow of Ogun State on both sides. Suppose if you remember, if it comes from Songo this side to Jodo Abiodun here, they are talking about an expanse. The level of people living there, the amount of money that will go there, based on the policy that Fashola introduced of returning tax to where they reside. If I should not be in this situation. Because I know that whatever Lagos is returning to Ogun State as tax, majority of them are generated here in the local governments. And that's why it's painful when you see people living so close in proximity to Lagos go through this level of derivation. It's unfair. And I'm sure this is not the only community doing it. This road will solve the problem.
In Olori area, they already compacted their own. Because maybe in a bigger story, you will see.
During the rain, I guarantee you.
Yes, see, they don't do it like this. They don't level it.
What is rain?
And that's why they are doing those drains. You can see they are doing drains. If you go to Olori, for example, their drains are wide. They've taken their time, you know, to put those drains. And we've had some rains. The place still remains compacted. But the point is, government needs to assist them, where the people seize the initiative.
Because
like this.
When you get to the level of asphalt, they might not be able to afford
beyond their means.
Yes.
So this is when the government has
to come
asphalt, in. You know,
it's very expensive.
It's when the government has to come in.
I want to congratulate people like Malaji Wasi on our web desk. He's also a landlord.
No, he lives in that area. You really need to pity him.
So that's the word.
Yeah,
no comment.
I was building a house. I was building a house in this area. I left it. I sold it like that. Because even in the rainy season, and a lot of my friends like Bamidele Johnson, they also had to sell their houses. Yes, Bamidele Johnson. And then moved from there to this place where this man lives, the chairman of this Ifako man.
Okay. So MK. ID.
Yes, this is after Haruna, that area.
I know.
Okay. So that's where he moved to. People have left. Moji Jamiu was staying in Okearo. He too left. When God blessed him with some money, including dollars.
MJ has spotted.
MJ, he ran away.
He has spotted.
Our old friend who bought MJ's house from him, he also ran away from the area.
For sure, now.
Yes.
Ran away.
He ran. That's the person who bought Moji's house.
I know. That's
he ran away. So this is the thing. They just need to help us. And I'm be happy.
Ogun State Governor, as somebody said, but please intervene in the plight of the
if for local government,
Olambe.
If the federation is working,
okay.
if for should
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, Musba Razak will be joining us. Stay with us. If you are just joining us, this is Journalists Hangout on Sunday, just right on time, and Musba Razak is joining us. So, as it is obtained in our politics, so it is in sports. The win at all costs syndrome has eaten deep into our national fabric. The use of foreign mercenaries by some participating states at the Edo 2021 National Sport Festival, NSF, rubbished the 20th edition of the NSF, which was eventually won by Delta states. Musbao, what's the meaning of this? Mercenaries.
Well, I have to say good afternoon, viewers. The Nigerian society is turning into another thing. I was surprised when I read in the newspaper that a Kenyan athlete was brought in by ESA to compete for them at the National Sports Festival. I was like, what is this country turning into? The National Sports Festival we used to have in the past produced great talents for Nigeria. I remember Kwara 85. Alila Togunkoya was discovered at Kwara 85.
Kwara 85?
Yes. Marion Yali was discovered at Kwara 85. Imo 1981, we have Shibozo Ihilebu. These are raw talents, school talents that were discovered from sports. But at this stage, Innocent Ebunike, Olakpade Adenikan, the Ezinwa brothers. Yes, they were all discovered at the National Sports Festival. And it is a grassroots festival that to build talents for the national teams.
To
discover talents for all sports. Look at people like Obiza Nwakpa, Chazun Okolo, Peter Koyegwashi, Jerry Okolo Dudu. All these are materials discovered at the National Sports Festival. But now that we are bringing in mercenary to compete,
shows the decay.
The level of the decay in the country is so appalling.
Jide, we spoke yesterday, and when we were talking about this thing, you mentioned some talents that were actually discovered in those golden years.
Yes. I started going to stadium in Ilorin to watch football and even athletics competitions at the age of 13, unaccompanied. In fact, I remember there's an event that always comes to my mind. That was the day the fastest athletes, because we used to have a competition, you know, it was not a national competition. We used to have athletics clubs in this country. Clubs. In Lagos, you have your athletics club. In different places, athletics clubs competing against one another. Now, there was this girl, Linda Ebemokumo, from River State. Linda and Marion Yali were rivals. Very young at that time. You know, Marion Yali eventually became world junior champion. They contested at Garden City. Linda won. So it looked like she won, but using home advantage, she won. Then the following week, the rerun held in Ilorin, because Ilorin used to have the best tartan tracks in the country, you know. And I remember the day that the tartan tracks was officially launched, it was Hamid Adio, one-time captain of the Nigerian Olympic team, athletics team, that even led the athletes who came to run, to do this relay. So Linda and Marion Yali, fierce rivals. I had read in the papers that they were coming to Ilorin to contest, to run. So I went to Ilorin. I trekked from Stadium Road, to the beginning of Stadium Road to Stadium. And as I was trekking to Stadium, I saw my dad. Fortunately, I was on the other side of the road. He didn't see me. If he had seen me, the beating would have been easier to imagine. He didn't see me. I watched Mary Oyali defeat Linda Semokumo. It was at that time the icebreaker or the tiebreaker for them, for us to determine who was really the faster of the two. And it was like that. Olapade Adeniken was a student of CNS College Ilorin. I used to go and watch inter-house sports, seeing Adeniken. At that time, small boy he didn't even have the right kit. He was wearing something like a trouser that somebody cut just for him to be able to run. His father was a member of the Athletics Federation Kwara chapter. His father eventually handed him over to, in my view, the greatest athletics coach that Nigeria has ever had, Tony Urobo. Tony Urobo of the old Bende State. And Tony Urobo improved on him because he was a product of Kwara 85. Improved on him. And Olapade Adeniken became Nigeria's best 200 meters runner. And usually the second leg, he specialized receiving during the second leg during a 4x100 meters because he was very good at the bend. So at that time, we were not using mercenaries. You enjoy sport festival, no mercenaries. What's the meaning of this? I was shocked. I said, before this, a state used a Cameroonian a few years back. Now we've moved from Central Africa to even East Africa, going far because Cameroon is close to us. We are now going all the way. The next time now we'll go to maybe Jamaica to go and bring mercenary. When we have the talents here, if we have the right, we put the right facilities in place, we will produce talents. Oliver Orok, Patrick Bassi, Lawrence Ikwabom, all of these great weightlifters.
Well, they were discovered in Lagos.
They were discovered here.
It used to be a regular event before. Before now, while growing up, this
National Sports Festival.
Yes, but I don't know. All of a sudden, I didn't hear anything about it.
It has to do with the infrastructures are not there. Like Jide said, we used to have athletic club, table tennis club, boxing clubs.
At this point in time, mobile track and field event every 2 years.
So many competitions.
No, they don't stop sponsoring.
When last did you
There's
have
no honesty.
When last did you have a Manuel Adebayo Cup to discover under 19 talents?
Yes.
They are youth fund. What is the youth fund doing now? No infrastructure, no study. All the study you have now, they have turned them to housing estates.
All those feeds.
You see, so
or even conversion of them to filling stations.
Yes. All these things contributed to the decay we are having now. For this kind of national sports festival, I don't expect at least like A.C. Brume to compete.
No, it shouldn't be for
those who have established themselves.
Really?
No, it shouldn't be for
Brume he has the best long jump record for this year in the world. Competing at the national sports festival, it beats in my imagination. So it is because of the lack of government interest in improving infrastructure, sporting infrastructures. There are no infrastructures here anymore. They are not.
I wish we can even go to Afuze. Afuze was a place where a lot of the great athletes from the old Bende State, including their great boxer, the greatest Nigerian amateur boxer of all time, Davison Ande. The only Nigerian boxer to win a world amateur title. That's where he was produced.
Yes.
At the Afuze there. And then the great boxing coach, Isaac Ikoria, that was where he was training people. Today, you need to go to Afuze and see what it looks like. Because when you don't have equipment, I mean facilities for people to do sports, you will not have talents. You will not have talents, and people will now be struggling for the little facilities available. In fact, for this one, Edo State had to go and improve on facilities in some schools. Edo State had to improve on facilities at Uniben. Those facilities should be there. They should be there for anyone who wants to do sport. I'm telling you, why was the old Soviet Union so good in chess? They didn't make chess a big man sport. Chess, even in public places, you see chess boards created. So anybody can learn to play chess, and they continue to produce the champion. So this is the thing.
Ultimately, these things, it will rub up on our performance in the Olympics or in the international stage. Look at Atlanta Olympics. For the first time, Nigeria, we made that announcement with the gold medal in football and gold medal in, is it Onyali?
No.
The long jump, Choma Ajua.
You see, it is a reflection of the decay we have. Of course, we don't expect, me personally don't expect that we'll bring anything back from the Olympics.
Yes.
In the past, Jide said it, in the past we used to have about 300 meters athletes in the final of the Olympics.
Yes.
In the past, we used to have 200 meters. We have Onyali will qualify. Falila to go qualify. The Ezinwa brothers. Olapade Adenikan. They will qualify. Now we
Sunday Bada 400.
Sunday Bada 400.
Even Chidimo.
Chidimo. You know, Egbunike. Sunday
Egbunike was produced at Kwaspo 80.
Sunday
I saw him.
All these. They will qualify. In fact, we have
even 4x400 meters.
Yes,
we used to dominate.
Second, at least third.
Look at what we did in Barcelona 1992. The 4x100 meters relay, anchored by Ezinwa, Davidson Ezinwa. We were only beaten by a few seconds by the United States team. We won silver. That was at the height of Nigerian athletic power. From 1992, we moved to 1996, and we reached our climax. And from then, we started declining.
Yes. Even the short sprints that we used to dominate African countries too started challenging us. Do you remember the All Africa Games where we were already losing the 4x400 meters?
Yes, that was in 1987.
And the innocent Egbunike took the ankle leg.
The last leg.
Yes.
The ankle leg. We were far behind though by more than 10 meters. And he overtook everybody. The late Arab Moi president, he said, innocent. You are not so innocent. You are not so innocent. Because it was the final race. Everyone was taking, and Kenya had done well. Kenya had moved into the quarter miles and they were beginning to do well. So they thought that would be the icing on the cake. Innocent Egbunike destroyed their plans.
The man was also confessed. Innocent.
And he had the African record, 44.18 seconds.
Is there anybody to look out for, after this National Sport Festival, ahead of the Olympic?
Look out for the Kenya.
100 meters, 200 meters.
100 meters. The best 100 meters.
Male and female.
The best 100 meter in Africa now is Akane Simbine in South Africa. Can you imagine? The best 100 meters in the 400 meters is that another South African athlete.
Even the Cote d'Ivoire. The best 100 meters in female was it Talu. It's an Ivorian.
Yes.
Another person, the second woman, is also an Ivorian. So
they've moved into where we used to dominate.
Even the long jump, the triple jump, at the time when we were at the heart of our triple jump, Joseph Paul Emodi was the best in Africa. Yusuf Ali was African record holder.
Even Agbeba.
Ajayi Agbeba. These are
African champions. He won Commonwealth gold.
Commonwealth gold, and there was a time we took them to World University Games, and they came back with 5 gold medals. No, we don't have all these athletes.
Increasingly, those countries began to move into where we used to dominate, and we could not do anything. So the decline became consistent. The decline became Maria Osifo. Nobody in Africa could look at Maria Osifo.
Yes, in the hurdles.
Yes. Later on, there was this woman from Morocco, Matawakel.
Matawakel.
Matawakel took over, and since then we've not had any serious this thing. It's unfortunate that it is getting this bad for us, and very soon even those medals we used to win in the African Athletics Championships, we will not be able to win them anymore.
Joining us, Emmanuel Akindibua is just from the National Sports Festival, our sports correspondent. Emmanuel, welcome.
Yeah, good to be here, Ayo. Thank you for having me.
Tell us what happened in Edo States.
The analysis from the respected journalists in the studio, and to a large extent, while the concerns are understandable, I think some facts need to be set straight. We also have to understand that these games are happening at a very unusual time. The pandemic, the series of postponements may have also affected the level of competition that we saw at the festival. The 2020 games was scheduled to hold last March, but had to be postponed when the pandemic became a major health concern. And following months, there have been several postponements. There have been financial issues as well. But by and large, let's look at the issues. The infrastructure was provided by the Edo State government by every standard was quite commendable. You need to be at the Samuel Ogunmudia Stadium to see the level of facility that the state government had provided, from the playing turf to the athletic track to the tennis court to the swimming pool. I think we must give kudos to Edo State government for what the effort they made in giving us a befitting festival. Away from that, the controversy about athletes, mercenaries being used, competitions of this nature will always have these concerns here and there. As much as I would not want to condone them, as much as we have a responsibility to condemn such, but I think as far as the main organizing committee of the festival were concerned, none of the state's delegation complained or raised a petition about some of these allegations that are making the rounds. I personally took it upon myself to go to the MOC office when claims that a Kenyan was representing the Bayelsa State in the 10,000-meter event. And the information they gave us is, first and foremost, when such incidents happen at the festival, the federation in charge of the sports would be the ones to make the reports at the main organizing committee. And at the federation level, before they can make such reports, there must be a protest from one of the states competing against these athletes. In the case of the Bayelsa incident, it was an opposing athlete who made the complaint. It wasn't an official protest from any of the states that this athlete was not qualified to represent the Bayelsa State. So as far as the federation was concerned, there was no protest from any state. It was just a ranting of an athlete. It can't stand as an official protest. So as much as there are concerns that some athletes are representing states falsely, they are mercenaries, the respected journalist in the studio was not really comfortable with having some elite athletes participate at the sports festival. It's a national sports festival. It's an all-commerce affair. There is no rules. If you're a Blessing Okagbari, if you're a Ndume, if you're a Michael Phelps, whoever you are, as long as you're a Nigerian and you are interested in competing, it gives you the other athletes an opportunity to also test their strength. Even with Ndume competing, she couldn't win the 100 meters. It was Grace Pocha who was representing Delta State, who eventually won. Even while we have some other top elite athletes participating, and Enoch Adekoke, representing Edo State, became the fastest man at the competition. So we can't just say because elite athletes who haven't even had the opportunity of competing. Do not forget the last 12 months, competitions have been limited. And for many of these athletes who are looking forward to the Olympics, this festival gave them an opportunity to also test strong themselves and even secure qualification places for the Olympics. So I think by and large, the level of competition we saw in Edo State was quite commendable. Coming from a year that we had pandemic, coming from a year that lots of events had been shut down, I think it was quite commendable. The officiating to some extent was impressive. I was at the boxing gym when the incidents between Lagos and Ogun State happened. And to be honest, I think the level of sportsmanship on both sides was quite condemnable because we all understand that the first law of sportsmanship is that the referee's decision is final. You may be watching, boxing generally in every part of the world, even at the Olympics, is quite controversial.
Emmanuel, thank you for that update. Thank you for the update. I will come back to the studio so that I can take a reaction from Musba and Babajide. Musba, Babajide, he made the point that the established athletes, yes, they too can come and compete.
No, that's never been the tradition. That's never been the tradition. To qualify for the Olympics, you always have trials.
Yes.
You have Olympic trials. That's what it's called. When you then win the trials, or your time will determine whether you qualify to be at the Olympics. So it is not sports festival where we now do, where we choose who will go for the Olympics. No, it has never been the tradition for established athletes. We've always had established athletes. People like Dele Udo, who was killed at Ojuelegba, was a 400-meter runner for Nigeria, but he never came back to compete in the National Sport Festival. A lot of things are skewed in our country, a lot of things are inverted, but our sense of history has to be kept in place. Athletes who are of international standard, world-class athletes, they don't take part in the National Sport Festival. It's for the home base athletes. That's how it has always been. It's an avenue to discover new talents. If we allow all our best athletes to come home, how are we going to spot talents?
Musa,
I agree with Jide. I was surprised when the guy was saying that, because at a time there was even a rule that the state contingent must not contain, they must not bring in established athletes. So because the standard, the main aim of National Sport Festival is to discover new talents.
Yes.
And it's more or less a grassroots sporting event. So I don't know why, I don't see any reason why established athletes should travel back home and compete in the...
To take part even in African championships, we used to bring them in. They would now take part in trials. So their performance at the trials would determine whether... African championship as well as the Olympics. That's the thing. That's the one that they will come. Then the Mobile Athletic Championships, we used to bring them in. We no longer have those championships. Out of corruption and all that, a lot of these sponsors are staying away. So now instead of having the usual Mobile Championship where these guys will come, all the best will come for the Mobile this thing, and then for tournaments we'll now pick them.
All countries of the world do organized trials for the athletes for big events.
Yes.
That's what you do.
And finally today, east or west, north or south, home, they say, is sweetest. This appears to be the motivation factor for Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa, who decided to return to his old club, Kano Pillars, after playing for leagues in Holland, Russia, England, Saudi Arabia. Musa decided to return to Pillars, a club he first signed with in 2009. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje officially unveiled the Super Eagles captain as Kano Pillars player after signing contract papers with the club. TVC News correspondent Ibrahim Issa captured the unveiling ceremony at Kano Government House.
Ahmed Musa, captain of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, arrived at the Government House, Kano, for his unveiling ceremony as player of Kano Pillars Football Club. Musa had signed a contractual agreement with Kano Pillars to return to the club for the rest of the 2020-2021 Nigeria Professional Football League MPFL season. He met with the governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, his deputy Nasir Gawuna, the secretary to the state government, and other top government officials. Ahmed Musa was accompanied by the chairman of Kano Pillars Football Club, Saraja Jambul, the coach, and other members of the management team.
With your support to the team and my support as the captain of the Super Eagles coming back to Kano Pillars to play football, I know that a great team is coming back to Kano State. And I want to assure you, everyone of Kano State, I know everyone is proud about me coming back to Kano. It's not that easy to make this decision. But I want to thank my father because he gave me the zeal that coming back to Kano Pillars is going to bring something back home. And I want to assure you, sir, I will do all my best to do what I can do to make that champion come back to Kano.
Governor Ganduje is delighted at seeing Musa back to his former club. He expressed willingness to support Kano Pillars, who are second on the league table, to emerge victorious in the Nigeria League.
We are happy that he has remembered us, he has remembered his base, he has remembered his origin, and has remembered these Kano Pillars, which is also a giant club in Nigeria. I was so happy when I heard the news day before yesterday. In fact, yesterday I wanted to come back in order to witness the signing of the agreement, but because of some important engagement, I couldn't make it. So I'm happy to witness the presentation of the jersey, his usual jersey, number 7, to him. By coming, I think the people of Kano are so happy and we are proud. We are number 2, and inshallah will bring back the cup.
Shortly after exchanging pleasantries, the governor, Musa and others went into the business of the day. Ahmed Musa is happy to return to the same Sigida. He thanked the management, players and fans of Kano Pillars for maintaining cordial relationship with him since 2009 when he first signed for the club.
Yeah, I feel very happy seeing the governor even meet this evening. So for me, I think everything is done. He's just ready to start the game. So for me, the message to the fans is, inshallah, we're going to make it to at the final of the season to win the league.
People are still asking, why do you choose Kano Pillars to be your next team?
Yeah, Kano Pillars, this is where I start from. So when I decide to join the Nigeria Premier League, so I don't have any issue to join anywhere, but I have to come back home to Kano Pillars.
What difference are we expecting, sir?
There is the difference is, like as you can see, Kano Pillars is second position. So at the final of the season to win the league, that is the next target now.
Chairman of the club, Sarada Jumbo, and coach Ibrahim Jugunu say they have no option than to accept Musa back to Kano Pillars due to his record and status in world football.
We accept the deal outrightly because it's not our own doing. It's the doing of the LMC, the one that talked to the player, and he has already agreed to sign for us. So when the man that is going to work agreed to work with you, you should have to accept it. So that's why we accept it instantly. And a player of the caliber of Ahmed Musa cannot knock on your door, then you will not open. We instantly open, we know he's a great player. That's our reason.
I'm very happy to see Ahmed Musa back to Kano Pillars. It's a great honor to Kano State, government, Kano people, and even Nigerian Football Federation and the people of Nigeria. So, personally, I'm happy to see Ahmed Musa back to Pillars.
Fans of Kano Pillars are also keen to see their star player back to the team. They believe the move will uplift the club even higher.
Being Ahmed Musa being back in Kano Pillars is a welcome idea, and it will bring a very good development to our local league, that's the Nigerian Premier League, and it will also boost the commitment of our players.
We are very happy to come back Ahmed Musa in Kano Pillars, and we know Ahmed Musa is a great player. We know, inshallah, by the grace of God, we achieve what we expect.
Ahmed Musa can contribute a lot to us because he's an experienced player, and he can even help our team to achieve our aims. Because now we are in the second position, I know with the coming of Ahmed Musa, we can achieve what we want to achieve.
Captain Ahmed Musa is expected to commence training with the club on Monday, as Kano Pillars have completed necessary formalities with the league management company LMC. Ibrahim Isa, TVC News, Kano.
Ahmed Musa, the captain of Super Eagles, Babajide. This is good for Kano Pillars.
Yes,
this is good for Nigeria local league.
That's where I would say he caught his teeth. He was a little known player when he got to Kano Pillars, and he became highest scorer in the league. The attention of the world was focused on him, and he took his trade outside of our country, and eventually he became the big star that he is today. So going to Kano Pillars is a way of repaying Kano Pillars for the head start that they gave him, you know, for their contributions to making him the big star that he is today.
If you remember, in the last World Cup, Ahmed Musa gave a good account of himself.
Of course.
He was distinguished.
You see how the record of being the highest goal scorer for Nigeria at the World Cup. He scored twice against Argentina in 2014 and scored twice against Iceland in 2018. So he still has that record, and it is good for the Nigerian league that he came back. Other great players have done that before. The Egyptians, the Ozamazan went abroad, came back. Ahmed Mido went abroad, he came back. Ben McCarthy went abroad, he came back to play at the South African League. Stephen Pina went abroad, came back to play at the South African League. So it's the level of.
I think Rashidi Yekini at the point.
Yes, Rashidi Yekini came back home and played for Berger and Gateway United. So I think it has to do with the level, the level of the league. The South African League is one of the best in Africa. The Egyptian League, they are one of the best. They have infrastructure and they are well managed. The problem with the Nigerian League is the problem of management. Before, when the Nigerian League was very well managed, it was about the best in Africa. I remember in 1976, Shooting Stars had a coach called Alan Hawks. Jide can bear me witness. Alan Hawks wanted to take Odegbami, Shegun, and the late Mudel Awal abroad. They refused because they knew that the Nigerian League is good for them, and they were playing regularly. When Alan Hawks came back in 1984, when Shooting Stars qualified for the Champions Cup final against Zamalek, he still found the two of them. You people are saying you are still playing in Nigeria. I say yes, because our league was good then. But now, if you have a brother, if he started kicking football, the next thing he thinks about is to go abroad.
Even before they become good enough, they're already thinking of going
so the people have forgotten that great footballers.
That's why a lot of them don't succeed over there.
Yes.
For you to be successful too, you must hone your skills properly here at home.
I think Ahmed Musa, I think it needs this intervention, this 6-month intervention.
Yes, it needs it because there's something called match fitness, match sharpness. If you don't have match sharpness, even if you are training every day, you won't be good enough. They will just, when they put you in a match, you will not play well. It needs that match sharpness as well as fitness. So, and when you play regularly, you get that match sharpness
ahead of
that awareness. And
World Cup qualifiers.
Yes, and any club that wants him now should be able to find him good enough, fit enough. So this will give him the opportunity. I only hope that they will not be kicking his legs, because that's what players do here.
Honestly,
Yekini, they were kicking Yekini recklessly when they came back to play in Nigeria. So I hope that won't be his portion.
Thank you, Musbar Razak. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you, BKO. This Sunday special, it's like it's gathering momentum, and we promise our viewers that. In the last 120 minutes, special reports, everything embedded.
We have said that we are going to make Journalists Hangout on Sunday a special one, and we are introducing the weekend special, what we call the weekend special. The story of
Olambe community
is the first in the series of weekend special. So we'll continue to give our best to the viewer, because the viewer deserves only the best.
Okay. For our regular Monday to Friday, 5 to 6, 1 hour. But on Sunday, join us for a bumper package. That's 120 minutes. And that's on Journalists Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for a regular episode of the program by 5 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku, urging you to please stay safe.